Hello students, today we will continue conditional sentences. Conditional, a condition is a situation or circumstance. If we want a particular result, we have to fulfill certain condition. In previous lecture, we have also discussed about clauses, independent clause, dependent clause and coordinate clause. Conditional sentences are also known as conditional clauses or if clauses. There are four basic conditionals that we use in English: first, second, third, and zero. We have already done first condition. Now the second conditional, that is imaginary present or unlikely future. Often called the unreal conditional because it is used for unreal or impossible or improbable situations. This conditional provides an imaginary result for a given situation. The structure is, in subordinate clause we use past simple, and in main clause we use would plus base form of the verb. For example, if I found her address, I would send her an invitation, but I would not able to send her an invitation because I was not able to find her. If you ate too much, you would get fat. If I came home earlier, I would prepare dinner. They would buy a new house if they had more money. I would send her a fax if I knew her number. If I were the president, but I was not the president, if I were the president, I would lower the taxes, but I would not able to lower the taxes because I was not the president. These sentences imply that something is not possible now or in the future. Second conditional, like first condition, refers to the present or future, and the past in the if clause is not true past but a subjective which indicates unreality or impossibility. Subjective is a special, relatively rare verb form that expresses something desired or imagined. We use subjective mainly when we are talking about events that are not certain to happen. Second conditional is usually used in such cases, stating preferences. Supposing, that means if I were 2 years younger, I would appear for this examination. Unusual circumstances, I might join the army if there was a war, but there was no war. Now, were instead of was in if clauses of second conditional, we usually use were even if the pronoun is I, he, she, or it. Example, if I were you, I would not do this. Now, this exercise is related to the second condition. I hope now you are able to do this exercise. The third condition is imaginary past or impossible or unreal past. The third condition is used when we are talking about the past and imagining something different from what actually happened. The time is past and the condition cannot be fulfilled because the action in the if clause didn't happen. The structure is if plus past perfect in subordinate clause. That means if it's a subordinating conjunction and we use past perfect in the subordinate clause, and would have, and third form of the verb, that means past participle in the principal or the main clause. If we see the sentence, if it had started to rain, the picnic would have been cancelled. But the picnic would not have been cancelled because it had not rained. Other examples, if I had realized that the traffic lights were red, I would have stopped. But he had not realized that the traffic lights were red, and that's why he would not have stopped. If I had been ready when he called, he would have taken me with him. I would have taken a taxi if I had realized that it was a long way. Now you can see that in subordinate clause we are using past perfect, and in the principal clause would, have, and the third form of the verb. If I had known about the storm, we wouldn't have started our journey. They wouldn't have hired you if you hadn't had some experience abroad. Now, in the subordinate clause, there's a perfect tense, and the second had is actually the past participle form of the have, but that is a main verb. When we use the third conditional, we are imagining the opposite situation. If what actually happened was negative, we use a positive form. If what actually happened was positive, we use a negative form. If I had known that, I should not have made a mistake. If it had not rained, the children would have played outside. Affirmation in both the clauses conveys that what actually happened was negative. If the police had come earlier, they would have arrested the burglar, but actually the police had not come earlier, so they would not have arrested the burglar. If we had gone to a good restaurant, we would have had a better dinner. But actually, we had not gone to a good restaurant. That's why we would not have had a better dinner. Negation in both the clauses conveys that what actually happened was positive. If I hadn't told him, I would have never known. But actually, I had told him, that's why he would have known it. Now, this is the exercise related to the third condition. In this slide, we can see the structure of all the three conditions. In first condition, that is probable condition, in if clause, we use present simple. If you play with the rabbit, and in the main clause, in the principal clause, we use will plus base form of the verb, you will regret it. In the second condition, that means subordinating conjunction, and in the subordinate clause we use past simple, if I were you, and in the principal clause would plus base form, I would not touch that rabbit. In the third condition, that is unreal past, in subordinate clause we use if plus past perfect, that means had plus third form of the verb, if you had listened to me. In the principal clause, would, have, and verb, third form of the verb, that means past participle. You can see this slide. In the first condition, if I study, I will pass. That means it is there is a probability. It is a probable condition. There is a probability that if the person studies, the person get good marks, the person will pass the exam. On the second condition, if I studied, I would pass. Now this is an imaginary condition. And in the third, if I had studied, I would have passed. This is unreal past, that time had already gone. The fourth one is a zero condition. When the condition is zero, obviously there is certainty. The form of the zero conditional is easy and causes no problem since the present tense are used in both clauses. Sometimes sentences with if expresses certainty rather than possibility. The zero conditional is normally used to talk about facts, general truth, about something that is always true or that was always true in the past, and that's why it is a certain condition. That's why the condition is absent here. It is certain. If it rains, I will stay at home. Both the clauses contains this present simple, and if there is 50% possibility in subordinate clause, but if the condition is fulfilled, there is 100% certainty. Now we will see the example. If it rains, the grass gets wet. Every time, whenever it rains, the grass wet. Wood doesn't burn if there is no air. If iron gets wet, it rusts. Every time when the iron gets wet, it rusts. If you heat water to 100 degree, it boils. Every time when you heat water to 100 degree, it boils. If you mix blue and red, you get purple. Whenever you mix blue and red, you get purple. If you eat a lot, you put on weight. If you go out with friends, we normally go to a restaurant. Now this is the exercise related to zero condition. And in the nutshell, we can see the gist of the topic conditionals. Zero condition presents real factual situations. And as we have seen in subordinate clause, we use present simple, and in the main clause also we use present simple. In first condition, that expresses future real factual situations. In subordinate clause, we use present simple. In principal clause, will plus base form. Second condition, that is unreal situation, that presents unreal situation. In subordinate clause, past simple, and in main clause, would plus base form. The third condition, which actually shows unreal past or unreal situations. In subordinate clause, past perfect, and in principal clause, would, have, and the past participle. I hope the topic is now clear to you. Thank you.